Yep, I dusted off the old kinda custom made Jason Voorhees t-shirt, and that means it's October horror movie month. Let's get it started right now. Alright, I'm gonna talk about this for a second. This is pretty cheap made. I went to this place like about 2 years ago. Almost, maybe a little less than, but you bring in a t-shirt, so I just kinda got like a coupon for the store, so I got it for free and I got this t-shirt. And so I went in there and you're able to like, oh, what do you want in your shirt? You can pick like a Google image or something, and in like 10 minutes or so they make the shirt up for you. So at the time, I'm like, you know what? That new Friday the 13th movie is going to be pretty badass. Let's get that. Yeah. So that was almost like 3 years ago that I got this. And first off, the Friday the 13th movie wasn't that badass. Frankly, it was a piss box. Second off, the picture doesn't match the shirt much. But you know, whatever. This is peeling to you. Check it. It's peeling. It's terrible. This probably won't peel, but if it eventually peels off, I'm screwed. But I'm trying to talk about the movie, but since I'm talking about this, I found a new place to make custom t-shirts that's much better. Let me do this little infomercial real quick. I don't know if I've ever worn this in a review, possibly not, but this is my Quentin Tarantino t-shirt. Essentially it just has my favorite films of his on it. Death Proof, Kill Bill, Pulp Fiction, Glorious Bastards, Reservoir Dogs. It's only missing like 4 rooms. He directed a scene in Sin City, Jackie Brown and Django Unchained. So maybe I'll make a second shirt with all those, although Django Unchained and Jackie Brown don't really fit in with like 4 rooms. Essentially I got that shirt from a website called District Lines, I believe. You just go there, you can pick the color of your t-shirt, you can get Google images or just create your own thing on there. And for like a little over $18 you can order your own custom made t-shirt. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so enough shameless advertising. Let's talk about The Cabin in the Woods, which is what you're here for, right? You're not here to see me talk for like 4 minutes about a t-shirt. But anyway, Cabin in the Woods is one of the most hyped up movies earlier this year. Because it was made quite a while ago. It was made in 2009. But they released it now. Joss Whedon produced and wrote it, and he let his buddy direct it, Drew Goddard, I believe, and it was like hyped up to be this game-changing movie for horror. And yeah, it pretty much was. I mean, I can't get into depth. I don't want to get into this movie too in depth because then I'll ruin it for you, and then you definitely lose something if you haven't seen it yet. The film stars Chris Hemsworth. This is the second movie made with Chris Hemsworth kind of as the somewhat star that didn't get released up until 2012. The other one's Red Dawn. It was going to be converted into 3D, but then they said no, and also it was made by MGM, who kind of went bankrupt and stuff. Like, they ran out of money. So then eventually Lionsgate had to go and say, alright, we'll buy this, we'll release it. And because it's kind of, MGM had problems with this, and then for a while it was like James Bond or something, I'm not sure. But yeah, so this gets released now, and I think it was all the way back in January, and this movie like was a huge thing. One of the top films of this year for sure already, I'll say. Basically, the least spoilerific I can get is to say 5 friends, they go and embark to this cabin in the woods where they're going to hang out for a weekend or something, and crazy stuff happens. I advise you, do not watch the trailer. If you want to see this movie, like, going completely, ooh, I want to be surprised, I have no clue what's going to happen, avoid trailers and everything. Like, just go see it. This was made back before Chris Hemsworth was Thor! This is actually very cheap. Honestly, I don't even know where I got this from. Ow, my foot. It was back before his parents were known as Thor. Yeah, this is a much better example. So he wasn't really a star, so he got put in like the 3rd main role. other two people I don't really know, but I'd like to see the one guy more. They kind of get lumped into stereotypical roles. Jock, stoner, virgin girl, smart guy. They called him a smart guy, but I think they was just afraid to say like black guy or something. And the slut. So yeah, and none of them really actually fit into the roles. They work with what they can get, is the way to put it. And so yeah, then they're kind of getting killed off and stuff. And this film was directed and written great. Like, the direction was awesome, but the writing, holy crap. Best horror film, like, way back in 1996, Scream was the thing that kind of changed horror. It's like, it's very self-referential, it's funny, it gets all the cliches, and it makes fun of them. This one makes Scream look like just any other horror film. It's like, yeah, Scream kind of did what this did, but this kind of kicks Scream in the balls and says, try again. Like, this changes a lot. And it's almost as much of a horror as it is almost kind of a comedy. And I can't say anymore. Go see it, go see it. Because this movie's just so great with the writing, the acting, and everything. The main stoner guy is probably my favorite character, and I gotta look up his name. Fran Kranz, he plays Marty, who's basically he's the stoner character, and he knew what kind of movie he was making. I mean, they all did, but this guy just ran with his movie. He steals the show, and he's my favorite character, and I can't wait to see him in more films. So Cabin in the Woods, this gets undoubtedly an A+. This movie is terrific. It's one of my favorites of the year. So if you like the review so far, you can like or subscribe, whatever you want. But now, warning. I'm going to get into a little bit of spoiler territory. So I've reviewed what I can, and now for those that have seen it, I'm going to just talk about a few things I like that kind of will spoil, but I'm going to still try to avoid spoiling, like, oh, and this was exactly this, and that's how it ended. And I'm going to get a little spoilerish here, okay? So thanks for watching, and the rest of you, stick around. So the first thing, the whole government thing where they're arranging it, I thought that was awesome, the way the government's kind of, it's not even the government really, it's just this government type group that's controlling the situation. That was very interesting with what they were doing there. The monsters, the hillbilly zombie things, that's where I thought it was fun, but at the same time I wish they had picked a different kind of killer, because it's essentially, alright, we're gonna do wrong turn, but we're gonna make it funny and add all this other stuff, because it's just hillbilly mutant stuff, zombies and all that. So yeah, but then later it kind of talks about all the monsters that we could have saw, and I mean, there's angry molesting trees, sexy witches and stuff. It's like merman and all this. Like, yeah, I wish I saw some of that. But thankfully around the end they do something about that. Oh boy, do they ever. I mean, that's greatest moment in cinema history, almost horror cinema history. Greatest moment ever. The ending was really different too. I'm not gonna touch upon it much, but the way it ends, pretty badass. It's pretty ballsy, and that I respect that, because that also sets up no sequel for you. So I respect these writers so much, Joss Whedon and Drew Goddard. I mean, good God, the amount of shitty horror movies that came out this year alone, the fact that we're getting good stuff like this, VHS, and Sinister, it's a blessing. I mean, Smiley, House at the End of the Street. Ugh. I think Paranormal Activity 4 comes out this year. I'm excited for that. I always like those movies. But yeah, there's like a lot of... I can't even remember all the crap that comes out. Like, every year you get like maybe one good horror film. This year it's kind of been like 4. But then you get like 16 piss boxes, piles of shit. So, something like this, thank God. So again, I say like, subscribe if you like the thing, and I'll see you guys later.